Hi there. Well, today's video is going to be all about what is in my cruise vacation first aid medicine kit. I say first aid medicine kit because this is intended to deal with illness much more than it is injury. If you have an injury, I would recommend that you probably see the onboard doctor, but in the case of just a mild illness, I put together this kit to hopefully cover anything that might crop up along our vacation. A few years ago, my husband and I were on a 5-day cruise and he came down with a respiratory infection, and that left him cabin bound for 3 of the 5 days of our cruise. And we realized at that time how unprepared we were to deal with that type of illness aboard the cruise ship, and we found that our options for medicines on board were somewhat limited and what was available was expensive. So this time we're going on a 7-day cruise, and I decided to put together this bag and hopefully we will be a little bit better prepared. So let me go ahead and show you what I've decided to bring. And I will say for some people this may be way too many things, but I would much rather have these things and not need them than to need them and not have them. So first of all, let me talk about the bag. I purchased this on Amazon. It's called a mountaintop bag. And it's just a toiletry case, but I really like the size of it, and I like the different compartments that it had, the zipper along the back, and it's got double zippers here on the front as well as a handle. And it does come in a wide variety of colors, but I really like the red because people would automatically know that it contained medications or first aid items inside. So let me just go ahead and open this up and show you. So it's got a nice big compartment here, a main compartment, and then it's got the zipper area up here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start up here and just show you what I've got down inside. So in this section I have just some different size bandages for anything that might come up that we need those for, as well as Neosporin, and then some hydrocortisone cream. And then I'm going to move down into this big area here where I have the majority of the medications. I do have a couple of things in here that are prescription that we already had on hand, so I'm going to mention those to you as well. Let me go ahead and get some of those out of the way. So the first thing that I have here are some Zofran, just dissolvable tablets. These are an anti-nausea medication or an antiemetic, something we already had, and I thought this would be great for any type of food poisoning that might come up, or in the case of norovirus or something like that. So I threw those in. And then I also had a Z-Pack that wasn't used, something I was prescribed by my doctor a while back and didn't need, and so I just kept this to have on hand as well. I thought this would be a really great thing to have aboard the ship. And then next up I have just a bottle of regular over-the-counter Robitussin. This is always good if someone develops a cough. And then I have got a little packet here of Advil Cold and Sinus, which I think this is one of the items that we ended up purchasing on board last time around. And then I also have a couple of packets here of, this is NyQuil, both daytime and nighttime, and I've got 2 of those. I should mention we are also traveling with a large group because our entire family is going on this vacation, so I wanted to make sure I had enough things that if anybody got sick, they would have some options as well. So next I have some Pepto-Bismol chewables, and I just got a couple of little sleeves of those. And I can't take the Pepto for some reason. I don't react well to it, so I brought along some Mylanta for myself, and this is great for any sort of heartburn, indigestion, something like that. I'm thinking about putting this into a smaller bottle though, because this is a little bit heavy and a little bit cumbersome to take along. Next I have a couple of bottles of Purell. This is of course great for sanitizing your hands all throughout your vacation, which I highly recommend. They do have Purell stations around the ship, but we want to make sure that we always have our own, which of course doesn't replace good hand washing habits, but that can also sanitize a cut in a pinch. And of course the all-important Bonine, I have this, so either this or Dramamine is of course something good to have with you in the event that someone comes down with seasickness. And then finally, this is actually not finally, I have a few more things, but the final prescription item that I have is my EpiPen. I do have a food allergy, so I would not travel anywhere without my EpiPen, so that I just threw that into my first aid bag as well. And then I just have this really small container. This is just for my everyday medications. I take a fish oil, an iron, and an allergy med, so I went ahead and brought that. So I just have those separate. And then I put together this container, and this has got a little bit of everything over the counter that I thought that we could possibly need. So I've put the brand names on here just to make it easier to identify. But the top slot here is Advil or ibuprofen, and then I've got Tylenol or acetaminophen here. And I've got Benadryl here, diphenhydramine. I've got some Zegerid, which I'm actually currently taking just for acid reflux. I've got a course of that in here. And then I've got some Pepcid. And then I also have, and this is, I believe, the famotidine, and then this Imodium here at the bottom. Of course, that's always really good to have if anyone should experience any diarrhea or anything like that. So this is really, hopefully, going to be nice to have with a little bit of everything. And then I also brought, I have one more thing here in the end. I've also got a little bottle of Afrin should we have any congestion or anything like that. And then I wanted to show you, I just have one more small thing on the back that I thought might be useful. If we do have some sort of sprain or strain or injury of some sort, I brought along a couple of empty Ziploc bags so that we could use these for ice bags should we need them. And that is it. That is everything that is in my first aid emergency medicine bag for our upcoming cruise vacation. If you have any other suggestions or anything that you feel is essential to bring along with you, please leave it down below and share with all of us. I thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye-bye.